Welcome to the Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Emma Quinn. I am an interior designer, life coach, author, and speaker, and I am on a mission to empower you to overcome anxiety and live your best life. Join me each week where I'll be sharing personal stories, tips, and tricks to help you achieve this. Thank you so much for joining me. Now let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to the Life by Design podcast. I hope you are all having a great week. So, I'm going to be brutally honest with you here. It's actually been a bit of a challenge for me to get this first episode out. So, I spent a good bit of time writing content for what I thought was going to be the first episode of the podcast. And it was kind of all about goal setting. So I was so sure that what I had written was great and it was full of tips and tricks that I have used for achieving goals. So I thought this would make a great first episode. So a few weeks ago, I set up my computer, my mic, my headphones, my camera, everything, and I recorded the initial episode. So when I listened back to it though, I was like, hell no. So it's not that I thought the content was bad. I actually thought it was good. It's just when I listened back to it that it sounded as if I was like reading a list of things to do. And it's not really something that I would want to listen to personally. So I'm not going to lie, I got a bit disheartened and I was thinking to myself like, I've just gone and spent hours writing this episode and recording it, and it's not as if I have a huge amount of time in my week to do this. I really don't. But it's just been something that has been on my mind for so long. And this podcast, in my mind, I was like, this is going to be just such an amazing passion project for me. I cannot wait to get started. And here I was just thinking, I've just wasted all this time creating a pile of shite. So I don't know, like, I think in my mind, I thought it was going to come just totally naturally to me to just start podcasting, but it actually didn't. And then I began to panic and doubt myself and started thinking things like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I haven't a clue what I'm at. Who am I to be starting a podcast? And it really sort of knocked my confidence, to be brutally honest. So I stepped away from it for a few weeks and kind of did what I do best. So for me, this is just focusing on my like health and wellness. So focused on like exercise, meditating, reading, journaling. And what I realized was that the episode sounded so shit because I wasn't really being myself. So I had written like this script of what I thought people would want to hear, but it was very kind of knowledge and fact heavy, and it wasn't really how I speak in my everyday life. So I asked myself, like, what kind of podcasts do I like listening to? And without a doubt, it is more natural, unfiltered conversations where I get to know the host better. So I realized if I'm going to make a podcast and I'm going to enjoy the process and make it something that I do consistently every week, I need to be myself when I'm doing it. So this might sound so obvious to you, but it actually wasn't to me for some reason. And I know like we hear this all the time, like you have to be more authentic, you have to show up as your true self online and all this here shit. And it's kind of a cliche at this point, but it's so true. And it actually makes life so much easier for everyone involved. So the other thing I realized when I recorded that last episode, that I was recording it on video also, and I kind of had it in my mind that I needed to record it on video so I could share it on YouTube and social media. And while that probably is a good idea in terms of promoting it, I think that was kind of holding me back from really being myself as well, because I felt like it was nearly this performance I had to put on for the camera, and I was maybe feeling a bit self-conscious about it, like first time doing it really. So this is something I really want to work on, as I would like to be able to record these episodes on camera, as I know some people might prefer to watch it on YouTube, but for the sake of just getting my first few episodes out there, I had to just make it as easy as possible for me. So, full transparency, I am currently sitting on my wardrobe floor because it's the most private and kind of smallest room in my house and probably has the best acoustics. So, this is where I chose. So, not recording on video also means I can just be as comfortable as I like, which again makes it sort of easier for me to be myself. So why am I telling you all this, and what the hell has this got to do with Life by Design, which the podcast is all about? So I realised that rather than preaching to you on all these things that I think you should be doing to overcome anxiety and live your best life, I am recording this in real time and I'm currently going through a little bit of anxiety as we speak. So hopefully this will maybe make it a bit more relatable to you. So even though I wrote a book about overcoming anxiety, it doesn't mean it doesn't still affect me from time to time. So I've actually been feeling a bit nauseous this past few days, thinking about recording this episode, which I know is so dramatic. But it's why I'm sitting here with a hot water bottle on my tummy like a fucking 90-year-old on bed rest. I have literally done everything I could this week to procrastinate on recording this podcast. So I'm learning Irish on Duolingo at the minute, the wee language app, and I usually only do like 5 minutes a day. But this week I think I've racked up about 3 hours. So while that's great for my couple of fuckle, it is not so great for my podcast. So what I'm experiencing at the minute, I think it's a bit of fear and anxiety around releasing the podcast. So although it is something that I really want to do so badly and I know it will be amazing for me, the thoughts I'm having are like, are people going to like it? Are people going to judge me? Am I getting too personal? And are my family and friends going to think it's too much, or that I should be more private about my life? And I think that's why I reverted to my original episode that I was telling you about, of the list of things to do to overcome anxiety, because that sort of felt safe to me and was more in my comfort zone. So what I'm realising is that while being your authentic self and sharing more of your life with others is amazing and can help others in a similar situation, it's fucking scary and it can actually lead to more anxiety. But this doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. So here I am in real time working through this issue with these. So I want you to think about, where in your life are you not showing up as your authentic self, or is this something you've ever even considered? So I'm going to give you an example here. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen some of my reels where I give interior design tips. So I've been doing these for so long that it kind of comes naturally to me now. But I do put quite a bit of work into them. So I do a lot of research on topics and I carefully write, the captions and all that, because I want to be like as helpful as possible to my audience in the process. But I realised I probably do lose a little bit of the authenticity because I'm trying to make it more commercially appealing, and I'm thinking like, what do people who are into interior design and new build homes and all this, what do they want to see, like what kind of content? So while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, and it's often kind of necessary, for the purposes of marketing and things like that, it's not really the way I would speak to someone if I met them like down the town. Can you imagine like, well, Karen, how's the new build going? Here are my top 3 tips for maximizing natural light in your home. Karen would think I'm a fucking lunatic and probably unfollow me in real life, to be fair. So what I'm saying here is that this podcast is literally Emma unfiltered, as I said, sitting on my wardrobe floor. Hopefully it won't be this way forever, but for now, that's what you're stuck with. This may not be for everyone, this style of podcasting, but if it is, and you can relate to anything I'm talking about, I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. These are all like Karen to me now. By the way, Karen doesn't really exist. She's just made up for that wee story that I had there, that wee example. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. I really need to have some kind of notes, as authentic as I'm trying to be. I feel like I need something to keep me on track. So what I was talking about there is, where in your life are you not showing up as your authentic self? So maybe you feel like you can't really express your true self in front of your co-workers, maybe you're in a friend circle that you don't really connect with, like fake friends, and you find yourself putting up a front to fit in. Or maybe you avoid having like a difficult conversation with your spouse because you don't want the conflict. I think we can all relate to this. Or, maybe it has to do with your appearance. Maybe you have to wear like a work uniform you hate, or you feel like you have to wear heels to work even, when they kill your feet. So just take a minute to think about this. Where is it showing up in your life? And just thinking there about that heels example, I remember in my early 20s, I had a job as an assistant retail manager back in the good old days. And in my little naive mind back then, I thought this meant that I had to wear heels to work every day, which to me now is absolutely ludicrous. But if you've ever worked in retail, you know that, you can be on your feet all day, and heels are probably not the best choice. So my pervy feet were in bits like every single evening I came home, but it never dawned on me that it would be okay for me to wear flats, and that would actually be more in line with who I really was. So at the time, I thought I had to put on this front or this persona of this professional manager for people to like or respect me. But in the process, I was hiding who I really was. And I don't think it's a coincidence that back then I was really struggling with social anxiety and depression. And I'll maybe go into that more on another episode if you want to know more about that. But my point here is that while we can make light of this whole being authentic thing, I honestly believe it is crucial to our happiness and well-being. So what are the steps that I'm taking to overcome this fear and anxiety and to show up more authentically? Well, as you can guess, actually recording this podcast episode is the first one. And even though it's not perfect and I'm not recording it on video, I'm still showing up and I'm doing it. So there's a wee tip for you, just start by taking some action, even imperfect action, however small it seems. At least you'll be moving in the right direction. And I know that by taking this first step, for me, it's going to get easier every time I do it, and I will eventually pluck up the courage to record it on video. But for now, my wardrobe floor is fine. So just remember that done is better than perfect. So the second thing I'm doing is I'm sharing my challenges with you. So I'm not saying you have to start a podcast, but maybe you could speak to a friend, a counsellor or a coach if you have the budget, or even just write about it in your journal if you like doing that. And the other thing you could do if you're brave enough is to maybe share a little bit about your struggles on social media or a blog. I know that's not for everyone, but just some ideas there. And then the final thing that I'm gonna do as soon as I finish recording this episode is celebrate. Now, don't get too excited. I'm not gonna do anything too wild, but I might treat myself, do a nice wee snack and a wee Kardashians binge, which I actually rarely do. And then tonight, before I go to bed, I'm going to journal a little bit about how proud I am of myself for taking that first step, that imperfect action. So hopefully you can see how maybe this could apply to your life. So using the example of the difficult conversation with your spouse, if that's maybe something that you're dealing with, the first step could maybe be to book like a dinner or, maybe organize like a date night together when, you would have a more relaxed environment to chat. So I know that those are the times that me and my husband really get to talk properly. So wherever this is showing up for you in your life, I just want you to know that you are more than capable of overcoming this. Like, if I can record a podcast on my wardrobe floor on a Friday night, anything is possible. The sky is the limit. So, as I said, I'm working through these issues in real time. So I'm gonna keep you posted on how I get on, and hopefully by the next episode I will be in full swing, badass boss bitch mode. I'll have a fresh blowout, I'll have the red lipstick on, I'll have 10 cameras on me. I'll be seriously putting Beyonce to shame, and you won't even recognise the wardrobe floor girl feeling sorry for herself. So I'm putting that out there right now. I'm manifesting it. It's gonna happen. So that's it for today's episode. Short and sweet. I need to go feed my dog now, and probably my husband, come to think of it. I can hear him floating about out there. So I hope you've enjoyed it and will be able to apply some of the things I've talked about here to your own life. I would love to hear from you if this is something that you're struggling with as well, or any tips that you have for putting yourself out there more authentically. So come and connect with me on social media. I'm everywhere really these days, but Instagram is probably where you'll find me the most. I'm at emmaquinn.design, so come and say hi. If you're interested in grabbing a copy of my book, I'll leave the link down below, as well as my website and all that other info if you want to check any of that out. And if you've enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate if you could rate, review and subscribe so others can find it, or share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it. So thank you so much for listening. Now go out there and live your best life by design. Bye everyone.